I'm Yasmin.
I'm Jordan.
This is Unedited.
Well, it is St. Patrick's Day tomorrow, and so just in light of that, we thought we would do something thematically around just celebrating the day. Yasmin, what are some things that you did growing up for St. Patrick's Day?
Mostly in school, they got us to dress in green.
Yes.
I definitely didn't ever wear a hat like that, though.
Okay. Yeah, this is quite an adjustment for me for dressing green, I guess. My daughter's actually going to school this year, and so she has her outfit all kind of picked out looking for it.
Yeah.
Now, producer Ashley tells me that if you don't wear green back in her day, right, when she was in school, people would pinch you.
It's so mean. Why are we supposed to do that?
Yeah, no pinching, okay?
Yeah.
Don't pinch people tomorrow.
When I think of St. Patrick's Day, I mean, obviously, well, not obviously, I'm not Irish, right? So I didn't do a lot of it growing up, except for in school. But I always think of the Shamrock Shakes that come to McDonald's at this time of the year. And it's not just because they're good. When I was a kid, I was about, I think, 10 years old. I don't know how old I was. I had to get like 9 teeth pulled at once.
Okay.
And so and so my mom said to me, she goes, you know, I'm going to take you through McDonald's and I'm going to buy you a milkshake. And it was my very first Shamrock Shake. So now they're always associated with pain and losing all of my teeth all at once.
Wow. You get like a whole memory flashback.
I get a whole
every time
flashback
you go for
whenever
one.
Shamrock Shakes, yeah.
Yeah. No, this is cool though. But happy St. Patrick's Day tomorrow to everyone.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
We're going to do an activity, I think.
We're going to do something fun. And it's green too. It's seaweed.
Yeah, it kind of works kind of along the, so it's kind of a darker green, but nonetheless.
So today we got this book for Unedited. It's like a friendship book. And like the whole book, which is really cool, me and Jordan were taking a look at it. They have like little scratch places everywhere. And it's activities to do with your friends. There is like a couples version too. So if you want to do one with dates and couples, but this is a friendship one. And it kind of has themes like if it costs money, what time of the day it is. So we chose one that we could do. We've already scratched it just because some of them involve supplies, which that is where this game has come from. So we scratched this space right here that said that it was less than $5.
Yeah.
You could do it anytime and it would take a maximum of 30 to 60 minutes, which this one's actually only going to take 2 minutes.
Okay, good.
So
I was getting nervous for a second there.
So this is what we have to do. For this challenge, you'll need to grab at least 2 packages of dried seaweed, which is right there. Set yourself up on a table and set a timer for 2 minutes. On go, you start the timer and start building. Using the dried seaweed, build a house of cards. Style structure as fast as you can.
Already.
So that's what we're going to do.
All right, I'm ready.
And like, I haven't done the house of cards thing for a long time.
I don't know if I've ever done a house of cards, so.
Not even when you're a kid, like when you're bored?
they go like this and then they stack, right?
Yeah, so it's like little, like teepees.
Yeah.
And then a base.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking we're not even going to get a base.
Okay.
But who knows? Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe you will.
We're going to see.
I'm going to put mine out like this. And you have to stay to your side.
All right.
So we have like this much space each.
This much?
Well, yeah.
Okay, I'm taking this much.
And no blowing of wind, because it will all fan over.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ashley is going to set us a timer.
Okay.
And then we're going to go.
Okay, give us a signal.
Are we ready?
3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Go.
Here we go.
Every time you move the table, mine
I'm
collapses.
sorry. Not sorry. Oh no. Okay.
For sure lose. I don't know how to do this. My hands are shaking. I feel too much pressure. Yours is just like falling to pieces.
This is not working out for me at all.
I feel like I should just wait out the time. Hopefully yours will just fall.
3, 2, 1.
Ah! Oh, I was going for the win too.
You were doing good. Okay.
That was harder than it looked, eh?
Way harder
And
than
like
it looked.
this stuff crumbles pretty easy.
Wait.
So my hands are greasy. I'm telling you. I gotta go wash my
Whatever. It
hands
was
now.
fun, and in the book, it's cool because you can take snapshots of like your stuff that you've done, your activities, and put pictures beside each one. So
That's
then
true.
that way you like have this whole book of like memories and
Post
things
with
that
a
we
picture.
did. So that'll be fun. So.
There
We
go.
post. And as you saw at the beginning of our episode, how we welcomed you, we got to try crokicurling.
Something, yeah. I forget what the name of it was.
Anyways, we'll come back to that.
Yeah,
So
we
just
say
check out
it in the video. You'll see it.
So check out this video. What are we doing today, Jordan?
Well, we are playing Crokicurl, apparently. It's a curling, fun, kind of interesting game. We got rocks.
Have you
We got
played
a bullseye.
it before?
I've never.
Me neither. Good. So it's like beginners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wish us luck.
Yeah.
We're gonna give it a go.
Yeah. We've checked out the score, how to score, and everything. Now we just got to start sliding the rocks, right?
Exactly.
Oh, and we're at Pike
exactly
Lake, by the way. We're at Pike Lake.
Yeah. Beautiful place.
Yeah.
Saskatchewan. I got curling in my background.
Come on, use some muscle. No muscle at all. Do it.
Go in.
Oh! Oh! He gets it.
I got it.
Oh my goodness!
Yes!
You're insane!
Go, 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 go,
on,
go! Oh no! Boom.
Seriously? This
Yes.
isn't even fair anymore. He came out here and practiced before we came out
I
here.
did not practice.
Seriously?
Yes!
Seriously?
Yes!
Oh,
Oh no! Boom.
I'm never playing with you again. So Jordan, what did you think of this experience of this Crokicurl?
I liked it.
I think we need to Google what that word means and like why it's called that.
Yeah,
But anyway.
and even if we're pronouncing it right, for that matter, I guess,
So
right?
we're just
But-
taking Ashley's word for it. So.
Thanks, producer Ashley. No, it was good. I thought it was fun. It was a good time, right? Beautiful day out here at Pike Lake. My knee is frozen now.
Yeah.
I'm sure yours is too.
A
But
little
it was fun. Yeah, it reminded me of curling a little bit.
Yeah. He only likes it because he won every single match. And even when we were messing around, he still got bullseyes.
Very,
So,
very-
the rock star of the game.
Very humble about it over here. I'm trying to be humble.
Whatever.
So,
You have to win some things, right?
I think
I'll
so.
just have to win everything else from going forward.
yeah. The next one's yours. Well, you beat me at the golf run there, so
Wow.
so I had to make a comeback. I think this is my revenge. So
Too funny. Anyways, yeah, we're at Pike Lake. It's beautiful out here, even though it's the winter. Lots of things to do for free for the family.
Yeah.
They've got a big fire pit. It's not lit right now, but it's awesome out here. So yeah, check it out.
Well, now we're going to get into the talk, and we're going to continue in our series. You said,
What?
thank you. Appreciate you doing that part for me. But this is a series based on things that we find in the scriptures, particularly that Jesus talked about, that kind of make you just stand back and say, "Whoa! Like, what did he just say there? That doesn't make sense," or it's difficult to interpret that or really understand it. And today we're going to look at a story. In the New Testament, the stories are often called parables. A parable was a story told that was to illustrate a greater point. And so we're looking at Matthew chapter 20. If you want to check it out later, check it out in your own Bible or on your own phone. But verses 1 to 16, let's read this story.
Before you begin to read, I must take
Okay.
a drink out of my cup.
Okay, I think you have to. Is that an awesome cup?
Yep.
Refreshing.
Okay. Story time.
Perfect, I'm getting into it. So it says, "For the kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who went out early in the morning to hire workers for his vineyard. He agreed to pay them a denarius for the day and sent them into his vineyard." So basically, he agreed to pay them a certain wage. About 9 in the morning, he went out and saw others standing in the marketplace doing nothing. He told them, "You also go work in my vineyard, and I'll pay you whatever is right." And so they went. He went out again about noon and about 3 in the afternoon and did the same thing. About 5 in the afternoon, he went out and found still others standing around. He asked them, "Why have you been standing here all day and doing nothing?" "Because no one has hired us," they answered. He said to them, "You also go work in my vineyard." And when the evening came, the owner of the vineyard said to his foreman, "Call the workers and pay them their wages, beginning with the last ones hired and going on to the first." The workers who were hired about 5 in the afternoon came, and each received a denarius. That's important. So when those who came who were hired first, they expected to receive more. But each one of them also received a single denarius. When they received it, they began to grumble against the landowner. These who were hired last worked only 1 hour, they said. "And you've made them equal to us, who have borne the burden of the work and the heat of the day?" But he answered one of them, I'm not being unfair to you. Didn't you agree to work for a denarius? Take your pay and go. I want to give the one who was hired last the same as I gave you. Don't I have the right to do what I want with my own money, or are you envious because I'm so generous? So the last will be first, and the first will be last. And so I remember talking about this years ago and just asking a few people like what they thought about this portion. And one person was a business guy, and he had like a photographer, like videography business. And the first thing he said to me was, well, they signed a contract. They agreed to what they were doing. So he saw it kind of in those terms. That's where I think some of us read this story and we go, well, you know, those people who worked early in the morning, they kind of got a point.
It's not fair.
Right?
They worked way more time than the other guy, right? Yeah.
And so at first glance, this parable, I would say, goes against the grain of one of our society's most deeply cherished values. And that's the value of hard work and just reward. And the more you work, the more productive you are, then the more you ought to be paid. I don't think anybody would argue that, probably in your place of work right now. Those who worked 12 hours in this story got the same pay as those who worked 1 hour.
Yep.
So imagine they all got paid $10 an hour. Let's just change the story just for our own sake here. And it was $10 an hour. And everyone at the end of the day, whether you worked 12 hours or whether you worked 1 hour, opened your envelope and found $120 in there. That's what was happening here, right? And those who had worked longer were probably thinking to themselves, like, wait a second, if you're giving them 120, then I should get 12 times 120. I should get $1,440, right?
Or less money.
You can check my math.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I had it there. But you made those lazy 1 hour workers equal to us. They get frustrated. Yeah. You know, we've been out here all day. We've been working hard. We've been, you know, in the heat. And, you know, this is truly one of those you said, what kind of moments, right? That they're probably wondering what's happening, right? Like you made those lazy 1 hour workers the same as us, but these workers weren't being ripped off. If you actually read the story, they got paid what they agreed to work for. Yeah. And but they were upset more at what other people
Well, once you
received.
compare what everyone, because it'd be interesting to see if they would have complained if the 1 hour workers wouldn't have showed up.
Yeah.
Their wage would have been fair, right?
And that's exactly it.
Yeah.
They're starting to look around the room. They're starting to think, well, what's he got? What's she got? What happened there, right?
Exactly.
And all of a sudden they're starting to complain. And Jesus is telling this story. I think that the overall point that he's telling this story is to teach us something about the grace of God. And this story is not about people getting what they deserve. It's about people getting what they need.
Thank goodness.
The story is not about winners or losers, but I think it's about a world where there are no losers. And that's what Jesus, I think, is getting at here. This story is not about great accounting, amazing record keeping, and keeping score with one another, but it's about really just ludicrous grace and amazing grace. And this is where I think we can get misguided when we start, like you said, counting others' works and sins and hours, etc., and we make our worth based on that. Like
in comparison to
look
others.
what I did compared to them, right? Look how much more I've done compared to you.
I'm not as bad as that person.
Well, that's
I'm
it.
better than,
We find ourselves in a dangerous spot. There's an author and theologian named Robert Capon. I just found this quote funny. He was writing about this parable, and he said this. He said, bookkeeping is the only punishable offense in the kingdom of heaven. And I like what he was getting at there. And no offense to the bookkeepers out there, okay? Keep doing your job. You do a good job, right?
We need them.
This is about this parable. But this idea of trying to keep score, this idea of trying to count other people's sins against them while minimizing your own, trying to count what other people have done compared to what you have done. These all-day workers, they actually got what they were promised, so they really shouldn't have been complaining so much. But it's seeing other people get blessed, it has them feeling slighted, and they feel ripped off. And so they likely start counting all the ways that they deserve more. And I think human nature, you'd probably do this, right? It makes sense to do this, to think like, I've been out here all day. And they start to count all the ways that other people are bad, if I could say it like that. I think we have a tendency as humans to do that. And this is no way to live, because what ends up happening is you focus on everything else and you forget the blessing that you just received yourself. Because they got paid. They got what they agreed to work for. And I think this is a thought for Christians here. And I'm just going to throw a little thought out here for that, is that this world doesn't need people counting sins and counting hours. But perhaps this world simply needs people who can be counted on.
Amen.
And who can be counted on to love others and to embrace others and to really just, not worry about who's done what and who hasn't done what, but just accepting one another and loving one another, and who rejoice when others are blessed and included. Like, You know, if you can rejoice when others get something they don't deserve, I think that says something beautiful about your character.
I agree.
If you can rejoice when someone gets rewarded when you wish you got that reward, but you can still pat them on the back, that's a character moment, I think.
Yeah.
And the gospel doesn't work like business. It just doesn't. Grace isn't fair, and thank goodness, because I can never deserve it. But grace is a gift of God. And so you want to know why I think it's easy to read this story and be offended? I think it's easy to read this story and be offended. I think that's because most of us read this story and we assume that we're one of the 12-hour workers.
We all, of course. That's funny.
It's our natural reaction to do that, right?
We're the ones being it's all hard done by or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
like it's an easy story to resist or get angry with because it doesn't seem quite fair. And the reason why it might not seem fair to us is for one reason and one reason alone. It's because we identify in the story as one of the people who've worked all day, who've worked 12 hours. Mm-hmm. And if you identify with them, then it's easy to hear them and resonate with their offense a little bit more. And I think it's easy for us to originally focus that way and think that way because our world teaches us work hard, earn your money, do your best. So none of us read this story and pick it up and think, I'm one of those 1 hour people who was just kind of hanging out and doing nothing all day, right? And all of a sudden I got called to work the vineyard. We don't think that way. We don't think in terms like that. Most of us are thinking, I'm the person who's been here for 12 hours.
Yeah.
Right? I put my time in. I've done what I had to do and I deserve to get paid and I deserve more than they do. And yet the starting point, I think, to faith, the starting point to accepting Jesus is to admit that we've missed the mark and that we really, on our own, we've fallen short. We are
the 1 hour worker.
Exactly. We have nothing to offer. We need his help. We need his grace. The point isn't to identify with the all-day workers, but like you said, it's to identify with the 1 hour workers. Yeah. Yeah. And to recognize that, before him, we don't deserve what we get before Jesus. It's a gift. It's a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. We don't bring anything to the table, and yet God still invites us and still offers us what he offers everyone, right? So whether you've been a Christian for 50 years or whether you've been a Christian for one day or followed Jesus for one day, we all get the same grace. We all get the same love. Yeah. And you realize that his grace isn't about what you have or what you haven't done, but simply about what God has done for you. Mm-hmm. And I think that's important for us. And this story's definitely, you said what? I sort of said it, right? Yeah. Kind of moment. Because I think we could read something like this. It's easy to get offended. It's easy to be like, well, how dare you give them what you gave them? But that's how grace works. Grace isn't fair. And thank goodness, because we all need it. And
I think a lot of us have it in our heads that the harder we work, the better we are, like as a human. So whether that's you get better pay, whether God values you more because you serve more, you do this more. Yeah. But it's just not that way.
No.
You know? And I keeping agree. This scorecard in your head of good and bad. You know what I mean? Those types of things.
And what a miserable way to live too. If you're always just focused on what this person did, what they didn't do,
hard.
What you did. Yeah.
Someone will always work harder than you, right? You know? Yeah.
Yeah. It can really take you to places you don't want to be. But I'll end by saying this about the story is that this story really teaches me, I think, that grace is a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. And that it really makes no economic sense. And we shouldn't try to make it do that. To those willing to humble themselves, we can all receive the grace of God. And it's open to us, it's available to us, and honestly, that's a beautiful thing. We're now going to look at the now what and how we can apply this and how we could really, take this and just kind of implement it and make it practical into our lives. I think a couple of ways that we can do that is perhaps one of the things that maybe you've struggled with. I'll speak to those who have a relationship with God first. Maybe you've been one of these people who struggle with this idea that you got to keep earning and earning and earning and earning. Yeah. And you find yourself like a hamster on a wheel who's just getting exhausted. You're getting tired of just always trying to earn God's favor. I just want to tell you today, you have his favor. You have his love. Amen. You have his grace. He loves you. Maybe you're one of these people, and this is tougher to admit sometimes, but you look around all the time at what he's not doing, what she's not doing, what he hasn't done, right? Yeah. And you just need to let that go. You need to bring that to God. You need to maybe begin to pray for people and just lay that down. Living that way will just drive you nuts. It's just not a good way to live. You're not going to live in the freedom I think that Christ has for you. For those of us out there, maybe you need to just rejoice with someone this week. Maybe you're at work and somebody got a promotion, you secretly wanted it.
That's good, yeah.
And maybe you just need to go up to them and just rejoice with them. Yeah. And just, and tell them how excited you are for them. And the funny thing is sometimes when we act these ways, I feel like you almost act your way into really fully believing something sometimes, right? You could just sort of, by putting the action out there, you could start to change your heart, and even in a sense, just by doing that. And so maybe you just need to reach out to someone this week. Maybe you need to rejoice with someone this week. And maybe you recognize that you want the grace of God in your life and you want to know him. You want a relationship with him. Maybe you've thought you had to be a 12-hour worker in order to get into the kingdom, but you recognize after reading a story like this that it's the 1-hour workers are just as equally welcome, right? And in fact, we all kind of enter that way anyways. And so I just encourage you, if that's you, a simple way to begin a relationship with God is just by confessing your sin, that you have sinned, asking him into your heart, asking him into your life, and just saying a prayer that you want to follow him, that you want to you want him to lead, guide, and direct your life. And if that's you, we want to hear from you. We'd love to help you in that practically. We'd love to have a phone chat, anything, just whatever we can do to help you in that relationship is our desire. So that's a couple of things I've been thinking about.
I think I might end up having to use that now what this week.
Yeah?
Yeah, so our gym's doing this like competition with these teams.
I've seen some of this
and we're
on
like,
social media.
So there is a chance I'm not going to win.
Okay.
And then I might have to congratulate all the other awesome team leaders that have been a part of it. You get so invested in something, it's hard to let it go, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, I might need to rewatch this.
Yeah.
When we find out the winners tomorrow.
Yeah. Yasmin, I'm so happy you beat me in the House of Cards seaweed game.
I don't know what happened there with that, though. It'll depend. We'll have to like play it back because you collapsed and I collapsed, and I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
So today we thought we'd end with a blessing. It's actually a blessing that's actually called the prayer of St. Patrick. So just because of St. Patrick's Day and stuff like that. So I'll be changing the word slightly just so that it makes more sense to bless you today. So Christ be with you, Christ before you, Christ behind you, Christ in you, Christ beneath you, Christ above you, on your right, on your left, when you lay down, Christ when you sit down, and Christ when I rise. So I just pray this week, in whatever circumstance you're walking through, the good, the bad, and everything in between, that Christ is with you.
Amen.
So
that's good. I love these mugs. Do you?
Yeah, are we ready?
Yeah.
This is a big one.
I think
it's
so.
a heavy one.
Yeah.
Ready?
All right, let's go.
Okay. Thanks for joining Unedited.
Yeah. Cheers. Have a great week. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Plant my chairs. I'm gonna be okay. Do you feel that though? You see that? See how it's moving?
3, 2.
Happy St. Patrick's Day! We've never done that before.
That's the first time we've ever done that. Yeah.
You just drew a blank. You forget what's on your head.
Yeah, this hat's weighing on my mind.
Okay.
All right, and in 3.
Who's starting this?
You!
Oh, I didn't know that. Sorry. I thought you were starting. I'm like,
well, that makes a lot of sense.
I was sitting there like,
you said you were going to start.
Okay. Okay. So we're in our series, Say. So you do it, okay?
I won't do it like that.
Okay. You could do it like that if you want.
You say what?